Hi, this is Érika from a small robot studio. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to create a Cactus Fren in Nomad Sculpt. Starting on a new project, I'm gonna head to the scene menu and delete this sphere. I don't need it. I'm gonna tap on add and I'm gonna select a cylinder. Here at the bottom, I'm gonna select wire to see its resolution. With these green dots, I can control its height. I'll make it a bit long. Now I'm gonna tap at the top on radius so I can see two orange dots. This is gonna let me control the size of each cap. Now I'm gonna tap on these three dots. This is gonna give me the topology options. With this pin icon, I'm gonna keep this menu up. I'm gonna decrease the topology number quite low. And I'm gonna increase post subdivision. Playing with these two numbers will give me rounded corners. In the topology section, I can also tap on this chain icon to change the topology only in one axis. This gives me even more control for the type of shape that I want. I quite like this, so when you're ready, tap on validate. Now something cool is that because of the post subdivisions that I added, if I open the topology menu on the first tab multi-resolution, I will have by default several levels of resolution which will let me work with detail or with the general shape. I'll keep it here in a lower resolution level. Now I'll select my move tool and I'm gonna make sure that normal is active. Let's make this a tad smaller. And I want to round the top a bit more, so I'll use this to bring it a little bit up. Let's go a level higher. I'll make it bigger, do the same, and I think I'm pretty happy with this. Now I'm gonna head to the layer menu and tap on add. You'll see how this is useful in a second. I'm gonna use a gizmo tool and rotate this to try to get a straight line facing as perfectly front as possible. I'll open the gizmo menu, tap on bake so these numbers are back to 0, and on pivot, reset it to the center. Next, in the symmetry menu, I'm gonna turn off X and I'm gonna bring radial Y into 8. This ring with its dots is showing us where the modifications are gonna be repeated. Alright, let's now select the crease tool and I'll try to follow this line. It's okay if it's not perfect. Make sure that symmetry is selected and let's go from top to bottom. I'll select the smooth tool and fade the bottom a little bit. To refine it even further, I'll select the pinch tool and go past these lines again. Sweet, this is already looking like a cactus. Let's once again identify the front and this time I'm gonna pick the delete layer brush. Let's make it a tad smaller. I want symmetry off this time. And I'm gonna go through the front. This is gonna revert the sculpt that we just did. We are only cleaning up the front because this is gonna be the cactus face. This is why we wanted layers. Without it, we won't be able to do this as easily. By moving around several resolution levels, you can make adjustments with the move tool if needed. Let's carry on with the eyes. Once again on the scene menu, I will tap on add and select sphere. Right away at the top, we're gonna tap on mirror and then on gizmo, we can move this around and we've got two spheres, one for each eye. Let's make these ones quite smaller and position them where we want them. The primitive menu is also available here at the top left. This time I actually have way too much resolution, so I'm gonna bring this down. 3 is pretty good. Now for the mount, I'm gonna select the body. Once again on the scene menu, tap on add and create yet another sphere. No need to mirror, we only need one here. Let's reduce the resolution of this. Once it is roughly in place, select the view tool and tap on validate. I'm going to snap on the front, select the project tool with line as a creation method and flatten the top. Let's select the move tool. This time I'm gonna turn off normal and activate symmetry. I'll use this to achieve the shape that I want for the mount. Before making the hole for the mouth, we need to make sure that the body has enough resolution. So I'm gonna go higher, maybe 1 or 2 more, and delete lower. Likewise, I'll select the sphere for the mouth, subdivide it, and delete lower. Now, let's turn off the eye for that mouth, select the body, let's hit to Boolean, and tap again on Boolean. And voila, we have the hole for the mouth. Let's go back to the scene menu, tap on Add, and select a box. With the gizmo, I'm gonna make this smaller. This is gonna be the tooth. On the top, I'll open topology again, and like I did at the start, and like in the beginning, I'll round these corners by reducing the number in topology and increasing parameter. Next, I'm gonna create the spikes. Back on the scene menu, let's tap on Add, and this time I'll go for another cylinder. Let's bring it to the front, make this smaller, long. On the top, tap on Gizmo to bring back the other options. Tap on Radius, let's make the top much thinner in comparison. Yet again, we can try to round these shapes. This is a friendly cactus, I don't want it to look too intimidating. And I'll bring it at the top of the cactus into one side. Roughly around there, it's okay if it's not perfect. Now on the scene menu again, I'm gonna tap on Add, and I am going to select in the repeater section curve. This created a line, and this shape is going to be repeated throughout that line. Here at the top we have a count, so we can add to that count. But before I go too crazy, I'm going to tap on Snap, so the points of this curve snap to the surfaces that exist. I'll try to get it in the middle of this section. By tapping in the middle of that curve, we will add more points. Now that the curve is following the body, I will increase the count. The spike is not really pointing in the right direction. In the scene menu, I'm gonna select only the cylinder, once again the gizmo, and I will rotate it. All of them will follow. I can adjust its position, and if I select the curve, I can modify it. So I'll go back and forth, selecting the curve and the shape of the spike, so they look how I want to. Since we have not validated yet, I can still modify this shape. While we have curve selected, I can tap on Radius, and this will allow me to control the size of the spikes at the beginning, at the end of the curve, if that is something that you desire. I actually quite like it the way that it is. Very pretty. With curve selected on the scene menu, let's tap again on Add, Repeaters, and this time we'll go for Radial. Let's look at it from the top. You probably are seeing what is happening already. I'll increase this to 8 on the Y-axis so it goes all around. I'll tap on Validate and select Keep Instances so I can still make modifications if needed. By keeping them as instances, I can modify any curve and they're all going to follow. For now, I'll keep these spikes that are going through the eyes, but I'll clean this up later. Our Cactus Fren is looking great and spiky. Before moving on, I want to take a moment to thank the amazing people who support the channel via Patreon. You, my friends, are amazing, the best of the best. Thank you so much. All our Patreon supporters gain access to a growing library of assets, including the models created in our tutorials. Learn more about it at patreon.com/smallrobotstudio. I suspect our friend is starting to get cold, so let's give him a little scarf. Let's head to the scene menu, tap on Add, and create a cylinder once again. Let's make this big enough to surround him. Squish this, bring it higher. On the top, tap on Gizmo to bring the options back. Let's select Hole. If I tap at the bottom on Solo, you'll see that the cylinder is now, well, hollow. With the orange point, I can control the overall radius. And with the blue one, I can control the inside radius. Let's show the topology, and you probably guessed it, it's time to round these corners. And if you're happy with the scarf, let's tap on Validate. Let's select Solo again and select the Tube tool with Pad as a creation method. I will tap and drag 2 dots, green dot to create the geometry. Snap is set to 0%. I'll add a point and bring it down long and add a few extra points and have the hook into the scarf. If you don't want the points to stick to the surface, turn off the snap. Let's use this orange slider to make this much bigger, and I know it's super chunky right now. I'll now tap on Profile. This is gonna shape the tube. I'm gonna turn it into a squeezed rectangular shape. Something that matches the top of the scarf. And guess what? Once again, let's round these corners. Very pretty. I don't think our Cactus Fren is cold anymore. Now let's add some of the growths. Back to the scene menu, tap on Add, and I'm gonna select the second sphere, UV sphere. Let's solo it for a second. On the topology menu, I'll bring this number down, maybe something around 32. Let's deactivate Gizmo and tap on Validate. Just like I did before, I'm gonna go into the Symmetry menu. I'm gonna turn off X and I'm gonna increase Radial Y. And once again, create the cactus indentations. If needed, you can go into the Topology menu, Multi-Resolution, and add an extra level. Let's clean it up with Pinch. Bring back everything and place it where we want it. There is yet another growth. So let's add a cylinder because this one is gonna be longer and you already know the drill. Let's get the shape as we want it and then we're going to validate. Now create the indentations the exact way we did before. Let's turn off solo and roughly position this where we want it. I'm gonna head to the topology menu and go to one of the lowest levels. I'm gonna go for the select mask tool and mask the top of it. I'll open this mask menu and blur it. Next I'll select the gizmo tool. I'm gonna do a slight rotation. This blurry mask is gonna let me get this shape quite nicely. And it's way easier to do with a low resolution level. We can even increase this while we are still on the mask. See what a nice clean shape I get. And if I go to highest levels, I have not lost the detail that I have created. Let's head back to the mask tool and the menu and clear this. It's a very nice clean shape that I created. And with this, I can finalize its position. If you want to, you can add spikes to it, but I think that I'll leave it clean because I don't want to saturate my design with a lot of small detail. All that is left now is to create the pot. I'm sure you can imagine how we're gonna create it. Scene menu, add, cylinder. Let's bring this down, squeeze it, make it big. On the top, turn off gizmo. Let's create a hole. You know I love the rounded corners, so let's add post subdivision. And we don't need the topology number as low this time. I just don't want perfectly sharp corners. Here's the top of the pot. On the left, I'm gonna tap on clone. I'm gonna select gizmo at the top and bring it down. Let's make this a tad smaller. This time we don't really need a hole, but we want different radiuses at the top and bottom. This small, and I want this more like a ball, so I'll round it a bit more. And tweak them together with the controllers you already know until they look how you want it. In the scene menu, I'm gonna add a sphere. Let's bring it down. This is gonna be the soil. Let's squeeze it a bit. Let's get it in the pot. I might bring the subdivision down for a bit. It's always easy to add more later. Validate this. I'm gonna use the move tool with symmetry off, and I'm gonna shape this soil. That's not quite in position where I want it, but that's an easy fix. I'll select the pot and the dirt. I'm gonna tap on add, and I'm gonna select a group. This is only gonna create a folder that has all of this together, which can be handy, so you don't have to select them individually. I can do the same with the cactus. Select everything that makes up the cactus and group it. Even better, let's give them a name, because this is getting a bit chaotic. Do any necessary tweaks until it looks as you want it. Our Cactus Fren is almost ready. Only 2 small things left to do. First, I want to clean up the spikes on the face. To do so, I'm gonna find the curves that go through the front. I have 2 options. I could delete this altogether, but I kind of want to preserve the spikes under the scarf. Instead, I'm going to validate this. Keep instances is fine. I'll find the exact spike that I don't want and delete it. The very last thing to do will be to add color to your Cactus Fren. I have the main body selected. I'll open the paint menu. I'm gonna select a color. I'll drive roughness above 0.5 because I don't want my cactus to be too reflective. And metalness all the way to 0 because my cactus is not made of metal. And tap on paint all. Follow the same steps for all the other pieces. For the mouth, I might select a different color and fill it up with a paintbrush. Now, you may still have symmetry on, so make sure that you turn that off. And we are done! I would love to see what you create based on this tutorial. I'm always very excited to see your work, and I'll be honored to add it to the collection. Anyway, I will see you soon in a new tutorial. Happy sculpting! That's it for today's lesson. Let us know what you think in the comment section, and if you found the video useful, make sure to hit like so more people can find it. Subscribe for more videos and activate the bell icon to be notified about the newest tutorials. Join our Patreon to earn rewards and help us create more content.